I'm going to show you 2 ways to run a COGS variance analysis with AI. One keeps you inside Excel. The other one does the whole thing for you in 30 seconds. The same data, the same output, and very different processes. And the second way uses something I built that changes how you do this every month. Let me walk you through. All right, let me show you what we are working with. This is an Excel workbook for a manufacturing company. It has a full budget, the 3-statement model, the profit and loss, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. But today we are going to focus only on COGS, actually the variable COGS. That's where the story usually is in manufacturing. So here's the budget. We've got 12 products across 3 categories: basic, standard, and premium. For each one, we have standard costs, direct material, direct labor, variable overhead, and we have the plain volumes. This is what January was supposed to look like. And then we have what actually happened. We have the general ledger right here. This is all of the journal entries with what we actually spend. And we have the production log with everything that happened on the floor. And the volume sheet that shows the actual volumes for units produced and units sold. This is exactly the data package you would get at your company. Nothing exotic. Budget on one side, actuals on the other side. The job is to figure out what changed and why. And in this case, the answer is not exactly what you expect, but we'll get to that. Now, this data comes from a project we are running inside Tactic Lab. Let me show you that real quick. This is the Tactic Lab. It's a hands-on learning space where you work with real-ish financial data, the kind that you actually see at a company. Every month, there's a new data package and a project to work through. The project we're doing right now is exactly this, the COGS variance analysis for a manufacturing company. So members get the budget, the monthly actuals, and they build the analysis themselves. It's free to join, and there's a link in the description if you want to try. We have live sessions, we have exclusive events, we have resources, and everything an FP&A professional needs to be better, to be faster, and to cause impact. All right, so back to our file, and let me show you how I did this variance analysis, how I put it together. So the goal here is to find out why these 3 lines came different from the budget. Our total variable COGS was 172.90, and in the actuals it came as 212.439. That's 149,000 because this model is in $1,000. This is $42 million unfavorable. We can already see here that the majority of it comes from direct labor. But that's not enough. As FP&A, we need to dig deeper and find out why. So I'm applying the PVM analysis, price volume mix. And in the PVM analysis, we do a stepped calculation. I start with the volume and I will calculate the impact of the volume. If I only had the volume changed, what will be the impact? So I get the variance in volume and I multiply that by the budget price. The second step would be isolating the price impact. At this time, because it's a stepped calculation, I'm going to use the price variance and I'm going to multiply by the volumes of the actuals. Now I have isolated the price, I have isolated the volumes, and because this is just those 2 variances, I can assume that everything else is due to the mix of the products, which means I didn't sell exactly the same mix as I was predicting in the budget. So because I changed the mix, probably I sold some product that costs more than the other one. It will probably cost me more to produce the same number of units. So that's the mix impact. Let's see how this looks like in Excel. I already ran the variance analysis here on this data, and you can see here that I first bring my volumes and I calculate the difference between actual and budget. And I'm talking about volumes sold, not volumes produced. Then I go on to direct materials and I will calculate the difference in price from actuals to budget. And then I will multiply that on the stepped calculation. First I will use the volumes, the difference in volumes, and I'll calculate by the budget price. And then I will do the price. I will isolate the price and I will have this right here, the actual volumes times the difference in price. So once I do that, I do the same for the direct labor, the same for variable overhead, and I'll bring everything together here. So now I have this column, I have the budget, and then I have the calculations of volumes impact for the direct material, for the direct labor, and for the variable overhead. Do the same for the price. The difference goes to the mix of the product. You can see that the mix is done by difference. So I have my total variance right here and my actuals. So we can see here pretty clear what was the biggest number here. It's the direct labor mix. So changing the mix of products had a big impact on the direct labor. And that's probably because we change one product that probably is faster to make to another one that takes more labor time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull Claude right here. Now, if you don't see Claude there, if you don't have it yet, but you do have a paid account with Anthropic, you can go to your browser and you search for Claude and you install it, the add-in for Excel. Right here, Claude in Excel, and you see it right here how to install. And once you install it, you can click here and install it, and you just have to add your password for your paid account, and you can see it right here. You'll be able to see it right here, and once you click it, it's going to be a good companion for your Excel files. So I'm gonna ask him to check my work first. Can you check the COGS PVM I did and let me know if everything is correct? Okay, so he finished analyzing my sheet and he says everything is correct. He's giving me a few more details on the analysis and everything, just confirming what I did already. And he's observing here exactly what I want him to do. He's observing here that the mix variance is by far the dominant driver. Well, I can see that too. And he's saying that it makes sense because there was a massive shift from standard product, which dropped 800 units, toward premium products, which gained 885 units. So premium products have significantly higher per unit costs across all three lines of COGS. And this product mix shift toward premium is the main reasons COGS came in 42,000 unfavorable. Now, he says everything balances, your methodology is sound. Now, let me ask him, can you write? And I am going to place exactly on the cell that I want him to write. And I'll hit OK. He goes back reading again the summary bridge and the numbers. So he wants to make sure that he has the right numbers in place to write the commentaries. He's already adding here the variance commentary. He's using the same format that I have for the rest of the tab, just to keep it consistent, which is nice. And now the executive summary. Let's see what he comes up with. Okay, he's very concise in the commentaries, which is good. Doesn't have to be so fluffy around. So total COGS for January came in at 212, which is 42 unfavorable to the budget. Oh, now he has the key takeaways and the recommended actions. So revenue offset is formatting. I'm losing track because he's formatting at the same time. So he has the volume variance, the price variance, and the mix variance, and the key takeaways and things to improve or recommended actions. Let's check how this works with a Claude skill doing all of that for me. So to access Claude Code, I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. That's my preference, but if you want to use Claude's desktop app, it's also fine. So to use Claude right here, I'm going to see this icon right here that says that it's installed for me. If you don't see this icon, it means that you need to install the add-in for VS Code. And to do so, it's very simple. You just come here on extensions and you can search for Claude. And once you do that, you're going to see that's usually the first one. It says Claude Code for VS Code. You click on it. And if you don't have it installed, in my case, I already do. But if you don't have it installed, it's going to say install right here. You just click it and it's going to be installed. And from there, you're always going to see this icon right here for Claude Code when you want to open a Claude Code instance. So I'm going to open now my folder where I saved the Excel file. What I did was I got that Excel file that we were working and I just deleted that tab with all my analysis. You can choose any folder you want to work on as long as it's on your local driver. So I'm here. I already see the folder right there. I just have two things in there. I have the Excel file and I have the skill. The skill is a document that tells AI exactly how you want things done. So let's see how it looks inside. You can see here that this skill is going to explain in plain English everything the AI needs to do in order to perform the variance analysis just like I do. AI likes JSON files a lot. It's much easier for them to understand the data. So it transforms the Excel into a JSON file and then from there it's going to do the analysis. So then it's going to see what are for the required data, and probably if some of this data is missing from my spreadsheet, it's going to ask me about it. It's going to tell me that it cannot perform the calculation without this data. So it goes on telling what it needs to look for. And you can see here what I like about it. It's very flexible. It just says, I'm looking for budget by product, but then it can be a sheet with the budget in name or on a period column that says budget. So it's very flexible that I don't have to have the same Excel sheet every time. It can be slightly different. It's still going to recognize. And then it has the reading strategy. So how he's going to transform that Excel sheet into the JSON file. And then it has here the structure for that. And then as long as he follows this instruction, he's going to have the same type of JSON file. So he can apply the calculations the same way. And then it goes on showing how to do the PVM calculation and the step, the volume comparison, then per product step calculation. It's teaching AI to do that variance commentary. It's a way to train AI on a very customizable way, just like as you're training an employee. Now the commentary tone, you can use different types of commentary depending on the audience. You can write this right here and specify when talking to the business partners. You can ask questions and demand answers. When talking to the board, you can be more concise, things like that. And then the output format. So it goes exactly showing how the tab should be formatted, the title, each one of the sections, verification checks, and then the variance commentary. Then we have a waterfall chart right here explaining how the waterfall should be done and the calculation for the waterfall. Now, what is important for you to know is when you're doing this for the first time, when you're using a skill for the first time, it's not going to come perfect. It's going to come with a full bunch of things that you want to iterate and improve. And it's very important that you do that a few times until you call it actually done. Now let's see it running. I'm going to open my Claude Code. I'm going to close this skill right here. And I'm going to ask, I can just type this last command. And as soon as I start typing, I will see variance analysis right here. So I run it here and it's already looking for the file. You already found the file right there. And then it's going to ask me a bunch of questions. So I'm just going to authorize everything because it's from a trusted source. So now he has all the data. He's going to run the PVM calculation. Don't mind these words. This is the fun part of Claude Code. Instead of just saying thinking or processing, it goes like inferring, unraveling, and incubating. There's some fun words there. And I think it's quite fun to see that. Combobulating. That's cool. All calculations are verified. Now let me generate the Excel output with the waterfall chart. You see that everything is saved as a JSON file. First the package and then the PVM analysis and the PVM results. Okay, so he's bringing me the analysis right here. I'm not sure if he's going to save. Probably he will save that on Excel as well. I hope so. Let's wait for it to finish and then we take a look. It's already bringing the results, the variance commentary right here. Yes, it did. It saved everything to an Excel file. Okay, so I open here the file that he produced. It has the volume data. It has the detail about the direct material. It has the detail about direct labor and the same about the variable overhead. And now it has the price volume mix bridge, which has all of the lines and I can recognize the numbers already and I can see that they are correct. It has the bridge balance decomposition, so it has kind of like a check right here, and it has the PVM waterfall. Kind of could tweak a little bit to see if this waterfall looks better. It has, I don't know, too much going on right here. Maybe it could look a little bit cleaner, but it's working and it's working here with the data. Now it's important to point right here that the data is not calculated anywhere. This is all hard code. It kind of takes away the credibility. So I would go back on the skill and I would tweak it to see if this can be calculated instead of hard coded. Another thing that probably I would do is I would probably want this not as a separate file, but as a tab just like I did before. So I would probably fight for that. Go on back and forth with Claude to update the skill so it will reflect my workflow, the way I want the output to be. But this is very good. This is already a big step to help me save time every month close. The skill we just saw gets its data from Excel, but it doesn't have to be that way. It can also pull data from other sources, databases, SaaS software, ERPs. It does that through something called MCP, a Model Context Protocol. Basically, a standard way for AI tools to connect to external systems. In the demo we just did, the flow stopped at the variance analysis. The skill ran, produced the output, and that was it. But it doesn't have to be that way. What if one skill could trigger others? A skill to write an email to the right people, another one to create a report, another one to write journal entries, another one to update a database. Each one fires based on what the analysis found. That's a skill chain. One skill does the analysis based on what it finds, it calls the next skill. An email draft skill, a forecast update skill, an action tracker. Each one is independent, reusable, and testable on its own. You're not building one giant tool. You're building a small, focused piece that work together. And this is how AI can actually bring value in FP&A. Not by replacing what you do, but by connecting the steps you already follow into one big flow. So let me bring it together. We started with a real data set, the kind that you work every month. We ran the variance analysis manually with Claude in Excel helping with validation and commentary. Then we ran the exact same thing with a reusable skill in Claude code. Same output, a fraction of the time. The point isn't that one is better than the other. You should do variance analysis manually many times until you really understand the right way to do it. Only then create the skill. Or you can start with a pre-built skill like this one, which you get when you join Tech Lab, and adapt it to your process. That's where the real advantage comes from, the customization. You don't need to get it perfect the first time. The good thing about the skill is that you can keep refining it as you use it. If you want to try this yourself, the Tech Lab is free to join. Same dataset, same project. The link is in the description below. And if you'd like to see different use cases for this, revenue variance, rolling forecasts, whatever, let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.